Yes. Hello. We are live. Hi, everybody. It's me, the artist known as Michael Macintosh. I'm just here having a cup of coffee with my Facebook mug. Free plug for Facebook, as if they needed any exposure from me. Um, how's everybody doing? Uh, I'm doing really well. I've just been very busy um, with my music, producing music, recording music, writing new music, um, rediscovering a lot of my older stuff that um, never made it to the internet and is just being released online right now. It's been a wonderful last few weeks, actually. I've had a great time. I've not been paying attention to politics. Hello, Hayden Knowlton. Welcome to my live chat. I don't know anything about what you're talking about um, because I'm not in politics and I'm not in the military. And I don't know anything about time travel or how that is going to apply to the future that we are experiencing and about to experience. There's really just no way of knowing as far as I can see. I do believe that time travel exists. However, I don't claim to understand how it even works fully. I think there are probably a lot of different factors, and given that, I don't think there's any way we can really foretell the future other than through the prophecies in the Bible, which are always completely accurate and always reliable. And the word Russia isn't even mentioned in the Bible, neither is the word America. So I think it's uh, incorrect to be dogmatic about anything and anything that may or may not happen in our immediate future. Immediate meaning to me, I think in different terms probably than most people, but to me, immediate is 10 years, 20 years, even on some levels. Long term is, starting at like 30 to 40 years. That's long term in my viewpoint. So while I think, you know, you have the right to be dogmatic about whatever you want to be, um, I don't think that necessarily makes you accurate or a reliable source of anything because uh, you are not the Word of God. And um, you can claim to be whatever you want to claim to be. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to believe you because I don't see any evidence of any claim that you have presented right now or when we've interacted in the past. And therefore, logically, as a professor of logic, um, I'm disinclined to agree with or believe what you're saying and um, would need further evidence to support your authority to express those viewpoints as though they were true. I hope you understand. No disrespect to you whatsoever. I'm just being objective, which is, I think, in short supply these days, frankly, objectivity. Um, so yeah, I hope you're well, Mr. Knowlton. Thank you for tuning into my live chat. And so I want to talk a little bit about my music, frankly. That's why I came on. I'm having a great time just putting together new stuff, putting out new stuff, um, working with all kinds of people that I never thought I would be working with before in ways that I never thought I would be working with them. Technologically speaking, collaboratively speaking, when it comes to music and composition, I'm writing all this stuff and producing all this stuff where I'm not even singing on it, which I think is great, frankly. I didn't honestly ever want to be a singer in my band. I became the primary singer basically, excuse me, basically by default. I was originally just the guitar player who wrote and composed music on the guitar and brought it to the band to learn and rehearse. And we had a singer who unfortunately became, to my knowledge, a pretty badly addicted to drugs person and later died as a consequence of that. Who I still miss dearly, but I did my, he was a friend of mine. We were friends as kids, so it was hard to watch that happen, but I did my best to step up to the microphone as a singer when he departed, when he parted ways with us to pursue a full-time drug addiction. And I always wanted to get another singer, but we could never find anybody, so I just stayed being the singer. But we've now decided to work with other singers, and we have a lot of new stuff out with other singers. Hi there. Let's see, God, Shane, Legendary, welcome home. Was I away from home? Ever? I don't know. Do you think I was? Or I don't know. I don't see myself as having been away. I'm going to take my glasses off because actually I can see better up close without them. I haven't been away from anywhere that I consider home for a very long time now. Anywhere I go or am or work or live, it's all home to me, whether it's California or Texas or Wyoming or Calgary, Alberta, or New England or Pennsylvania, Florida. Europe, Western Europe, Ireland, Britain. These places are all home to me, because I grew up in a few different places. So I am kind of home anywhere, really. Some places it's like, that's not really home. But I've never really lived in any of those places. So while I've been to a few of them, I've never actually been living in any of them. So to my, in my mind and to my knowledge, I've always been at home, really. So, but thank you for the welcome home to wherever you think that might be. Where is home to you? I think home, Whatever home is depends on the person you're talking to and their experiences and background. But because of my experiences and background, I have a lot of places that I consider to be home at this point. Um, and equally so in any of them, really. Some places I've spent more time in than others, so I suppose maybe those are a little bit more like home to me, um, maybe, but you know, I can be at home in a lot of places. If you mean YouTube, I haven't been on YouTube in a long time. I haven't made a YouTube live stream in quite a while, actually, and I took a really long break from doing that, and I did a few recently, actually, but they were kind of just, you know, just saying hi, basically. But so, but I wanted to talk about my music right now, because that's what I've been doing most of for the last while. I mean, a real long while, frankly. I think if I look back at the last 15 years or so, that's mostly what I've been doing with my life, separately from other things that you may know me from, more so uh, because of their high profile nature, such as being in the media for um, talking about various advanced tech projects and things. But as far as time is concerned and the amount of time I've spent on things, it's mostly been with music and making music and recording. Not so much touring or performing, somewhat touring and performing, but because of the fact that I've been pretty seriously injured in 2010, I have sort of put live performing on. I had sort of put live performing on a very long hiatus after a point there because I just couldn't. I couldn't deal with the duality of trying to get completely healthy and still working on that, and frankly, working on anything. So, um, I was effectively disabled from that point onward, but I was able enough to work on producing music, recording music, writing music. So that's really what I dove into head first, because it was really the only thing I could actually do aside from the other thing which I do, which is my ministry work, which is talking to people and teaching people. That doesn't require much actual physical energy, so it's kind of that's easy physically. But the as I'm sure anyone who has toured and performed music will tell you, doing that can actually be very hard work and tiring and taxing and grueling and indeed expensive. So I've kind of put that on a very long break. I'm not saying I'm never going to go back to it. I'm not saying I'm never going to put a live band together and go out and play live. I'm still in my 40s, so it's definitely conceivable that I will do that. Perhaps even uh, very seriously in the future. But it's been on a very long break, and I sort of think of it in the same way that maybe some what happened with someone like Paul McCartney in the 60s and 70s, where he took a very long time off from live performing. Um, and so did John Lennon himself, because up to a point, these guys, like I was, were working very hard, playing all the time, never taking a break, writing, recording furiously. And you get older, you have health issues. I got in a car accident, and I wasn't as able to bounce back from it as I might have been in the past. So I kind of just had to stop. But I'm doing a lot better right now. I mean, a real lot better. It's not like I could go back to things I used to do when I was a kid, which was, I mean, I would, when I was like 19, 20, 21, 22, and 3, even 25, up to when I was like 25, what I would do was I'd be working a job. I worked a bunch of different types of jobs, and one of one was particularly grueling. I worked in construction. I was a union carpenter, and I would do that in Boston. And then at night and on the weekends, and I would take like a couple of weeks off sometimes and go out. But I would tour, perform with my band. I would record, write, all at the same time. And I was also working that job, doing very grueling work sometimes, up to 70 hours a week, just that. And then I would still do the music thing. So I was always working, um and it being a very Boston being a very expensive place to live compared to most places on earth, it was not like I was really benefiting myself. It was just money coming in, money going out. So that's one of the big reasons I don't spend a whole lot of time in Boston anymore. Is it's just while it's a nice place to live, it's just very sort of counterproductive to um, work out of, because sometimes it can just cost more than you're actually making, even if you're making a lot of money. So you don't ever want to be in that situation. So the best thing to do is to try to, if you come from that kind of situation, which I do, I grew up in that city area. Um, the best thing after a point is to probably find somewhere else to live that's more conducive to what you're doing with your life, rather than try to keep the circus going just so you can keep going in that place. So that's what I did. Um, but yeah, fast forward to 2024, and I've had a very long break from live performance. I haven't had a live band together in quite some time. Um, I've done a lot of recording, studio collaboration, if you will, in the time that I have not been performing live, but I've been doing more of that recently, and it's been a lot of fun, like a real lot of fun. My wife Crystal, who I work with in music, has also been taking a much more um, involved approach to the production of the music, and she's writing a lot of stuff. Um, if you look at, for instance, our Young Astronauts Club YouTube music channel topic, you'll see a whole bunch of songs that are either new or uh, have never been on the internet, and you'll see that the newer ones that are becoming more popular are actually mostly her songs. So that's kind of nice. I mean, as someone who has been, you know, actively involved in the writing process, the production process, sort of being the primary person doing all of that. Um, it's great to have someone else who is as involved and whose work is of the same caliber, if not better. Um, I don't think I've ever really had that in my life so far. There have been moments where I would collaborate with people, but it was always sort of, especially on the writing production end of thing. There have been collaborations, but it was always the sort of thing where it was like, okay, this is not. We're just here. We're more. It always felt to me anyway. It was always like with other people, we're just showing up to do the work. They weren't really sort of living it, if that makes any sense. For me, music and the creation of music is sort of a personal experience, and it comes from life itself and actually living. Uh, and the music is a reflection of the life that you have lived or are living while it's being made. So that's to me what music has and probably always will be. Um, Whereas with other people, it sort of has always kind of felt like, to some extent, they were punching the clock before showing up to work. Um, Not everybody, not all the time, however, um, a quite significant portion of the time. And I don't fault anybody for that. That's just the way life goes. People have things they got to do. They've got to pay the bills and every other kind of thing. So I'm not, I don't have any animosity towards people for that, but it always, but because of the situation, it always felt to me like I was putting the lion's share of the work in. And that's definitely changed in the recent past. It's definitely become more of a sort of split 50-50 thing with Crystal. In fact, she's even put more into a lot of stuff than I have. There are tracks that she's written, produced, recorded that I have barely any input into at all. Maybe like, I mean, we're splitting the credit for everything, but realistically, some of the stuff it's like, you know, 10% me, maybe at most. So it's a real relief, actually, and I wish honestly I could find more people like that to work with. I think I always wanted to have that type of situation, but it just never manifested because um, circumstances don't always permit these things. So that's life, right? Um, so yeah, let's see. Let me take a look at what we've got up here that might be worth talking a little bit about. I'm going to open up a window here and look into our YouTube channel, and we can find a couple of songs to talk about. YouTube.com playlist. All right, cool. Young Astronauts Club. Okay, here's some stuff. Okay, I'll just look at the new singles, for instance. Well, there's the seemingly very popular song called Heartbreak Highway, which I'm gonna play a little bit of it right here. Let's see. Yeah, this is the one, the original version. After the commercial, right here. Let me skip that. Okay. Hey, Heartbreak Highway. This is a great track. I can't believe this is my band, our band, but it is. Now, this is mostly Crystal's writing and production. I had a little bit to do with the performance and sort of stylistic input into this, the way it's shaped, the way it's arranged, and the production style. But it's mostly Crystal through the mind of the film. I just kind of did some basic input at the beginning, just sort of followed along with it as it was being finalized. So, and of course, fine vocal delivery by somebody else other than myself, which is quite nice actually. I don't have to think about that, which is a huge weight off my shoulders, frankly. I can just sort of focus on the guitar. I love it. That, to me, my friends, is one of the greatest rock songs of all time. But you can figure out what you think of that by listening to it yourself. Just search for Young Astronauts Club, Heartbreak Highway on any of your favorite music streaming platforms. Uh, I like YouTube. That was mostly Crystal. I mean, that was her song, really. It is her song, but now it's yours, the public, to listen to and make whatever you will of it. I hope you all like it, and I'm sure that she feels the same way. Um, let's see what else we've got here that's new or newly available. Do. Okay, this is a good one. Let me play. I think this is the one. I'm still trying to figure out which ones are which sometimes, but yes, there's a lot. Okay, this is a good one called Heart Memories. This one is Crystal Sun. I'm just the guitar player on this. Yeah, I guess vocalist, not me. It's, you know, So there you have that. That's another great, great rock song, in my opinion. Um, I will not. Let me play you one of my things just so we can uh, be. I don't know, just to kind of break it up a little bit. But as you can see, the direction that we're going in is a, a little different to where the band has gone in the past. And so that to me is really exciting because I didn't. I kind of thought that what Young Astronaut Club had been um, had definitely run its course, and I was seriously considering the possibility that the band had run its course entirely and that there was no future for it. But listening back to this stuff, it seems to me like there definitely is a lot left to do. And I know I've been doing this band um, since my teenage years. I'm in my 40s now. I'm about to turn 50 this month. So you're talking, we'll just count my 20s, 30s, and 40s. That's 30 years plus of the same band. Um, so my thinking on it there was, I've been doing this half over 3/5 of my life so far. And so I kind of thought, well, maybe, first of all, maybe I'm too old, which um, a lot of people have kind of insinuated to me that I'm too old to be doing, you know, to be in a rock band, first of all, um, or any kind of music thing that is just for young people, you know, which it isn't. And secondly, I kind of had been very discouraged by a whole series of events in my life that kind of led me to think that I was just sort of too old for anything. Um, which, society will do to you. Um, and, even people who are older than me have kind of led me to think that I'm too old for doing anything creative or artistic in any way, shape, or form, that I should just pack it in and, become a, I don't know, civil servant or something. uh, I should work in the tax office or the, the local courthouse or something, um, or run for president. But without telling those people to basically go screw, and insulting them and cursing at them here on YouTube, I just think that that's a completely wrong thing to do to anybody, especially if you know and understand this person and you know who they are and what they're like and their strengths and abilities. And um, I think it's completely wrong and immoral, really, to um, try to misdirect people away from the person they really are and try to coerce and force and intimidate them and threaten them into compliance into something that would not completely suit that individual and would direct them away from what they're best at, what they're good at, what they love doing. Um, and, you know, you should just never do that to people. And that's what's been coming at me for a long time now. I'm not going to lie. And it always turns out that people doing that end up, I don't know, having to first eat their words, and secondly, having to change the way they think about things. Because, yeah, it's like what this person here is saying. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Mr. Backwards E. I don't know what even language you're writing. Is that Greek or um, work with your higher self? Best advice, they said. This, I think, is absolutely true. Um, and so, with myself and Crystal, who are both coincidentally, not it's not why we met or anything, but we're both classically trained musicians and composers, music composers and music writers, and lyrical writers. We write lyrics and words and what you might refer to as poetry, and we're both creative writers and accomplished musicians and um music composers and producers who just happened to meet each other and become friends. Not because of that, but that was a side point. Um, and we ended up getting married. It was only after that we started working on music together, just because we could, because we had nothing else to do at certain points. Um, so yeah, working with your higher self is actually the best advice. Working with what you know, that's what we should be encouraging in people, not trying to fit them into a mold that we have predetermined they should fit into, or in order to get something from them, that you in order to sort of coerce that person into doing something that we want them to do to get and take from them. That's what's been happening to me nonstop for the last particularly 12 years, I think. Um, I'm sorry to say, guys, but I can never be to those people specifically, but I could never be the person that you want me to be, and I will never be that person. The person that I am is who I am, and just because it doesn't fit into who you want me to be or who you think I should be, um, or you think is best for me, even that may not be the truth. Those are just your opinions, and you don't have the right to force or dictate or coerce or even guide people into things that don't suit them. And you should stop doing that, because nobody really asked for your opinion in the first place. Your Um, you know, if you really want to help people, the thing you should be doing is try to understand them better and encourage them in the things that they're clearly suited for. Not sort of jumping to conclusions either about what you think and what this, that, and the other. You should probably not be doing any of that. Um, get to know people first. Before you do that, don't don't try to force people into anything. Hmm. Yeah, exactly. There, Mister. I don't know who this is visiting, but welcome to my channel, by the way. And you are correct. Don't force yourself into things you don't want to do. Follow your own way. Do your own thing. Just be yourself. Nobody's opinion really matters to you. Uh, that's just their opinion, and they're not even going to matter like in your life in a short time. You're the one who has to live your life, and if you're not living your life in the way that you know you should be, um, after a point, that can become your own fault, really. Um, but what you have to do is sort of step outside the the input of everybody else and kind of be very zen about the whole thing and kind of get inside yourself and really figure out what it is that you're here for and what your purpose is. And I know what my purpose is. I don't need to um, I don't need someone else to tell me what my purpose is. you know I know what it is. So, and it's not really anybody else's business, first of all. So, but yeah, so this is what I've been doing, is helping to produce what I think is some of the greatest music in modern rock history. And I think you will find that out sooner or later. Let me play something that is not crystals. This is a track that I basically put together. It's called, actually, I did put it together. All right, there's a whole bunch of them. Let me try to figure out just one here. Oh yeah, this one I like a lot. Where did it go? It's called Endless Daylight. It's an instrumental sort of rock, post rock track, but I'm gonna play it for you now. It's starting to gain some traffic on, at least on YouTube here. It's only been out for a very short time, but here we go. This is called Endless Daylight by Young Astronauts Club. Oh, no, no, no. My mental health is just fine. I would like a bar of chocolate or a psychiatrist to tell me how I should think. Okay, here we go. These are energy drinks. Yeah, this is Endless Daylight. This is new. It was sort of written for In a weird way, it was respect. It was very much for the 96, no, actually 19, yeah, more like 1994, the live band that was together at that point before we really started putting out all of stuff. And I sort of thought back to, okay, how would, what kind of music would I hear before that band? I don't know, like if I had more time with that band, you know, what would I have liked us to play? Because played a lot of stuff that was just kind of like, it was just something for us to play because we were very young. We were big band and we were kind of just struggling to fill us out of the start at the time. But I was putting this together. I sort of was thinking, oh, what would I really like to play with that band? And now that I have the ability to kind of put together whatever I want and however I want it to sound like, which I did because it was so expensive, and I can collaborate with people in the world. And that's what I was thinking, like, what would I really want to play with those guys with that band? So I put this together as the producer and writer, thinking like I can take this song after time, put it with that band. What would I want to? If I could take that song back and play with that band, what would I want to? What would I play? And so I put this track together. It's called "In This Daylight." So this is sort of for those guys. I don't talk to any of them much anymore, but guys, you know who you are. I wrote this for you guys. And that was a great little band. I must say, we had some truly great shows that were musically just, but we never really captured it really, to some extent. But I think this song would really have a band. And it's done very well. It's, it's made with sort of 20 plus years of production experience under my belt at this point. Um, and I was not a music producer at all back then. I was a kid in a bedroom in the suburbs with a 4-track recorder. Sometimes a borrowed 4-track recorder. Well, yeah, that's that. That's Endless Daylight. I hope you guys like that. Um, what's that? Okay, let's try to find something else. But yeah, check that out. Endless Daylight, Young Astronauts Club. Um, that's a really great track. I like that one a lot myself. Let me find another thing that's new that I put together. Excuse me. These drinks are very gassy, so they're making me burp. But so excuse my burping. Um. Oh yeah, this one's great. This is called "Haunted Echoes of the Forgotten," and there's an A and B of this as though it were, like, say, a 7-inch single. You guys remember those? Well, I certainly do, and I loved them. I was a massive fan of 7-inch singles and 45s. But I really loved bands that would take like 30 songs and crammed them onto a 7-inch record. That was kind of impressive. Bands like Psycho from Massachusetts. You ever get a chance to hear them? I'd recommend it. Um, just sheerly absurd brilliance. This is also echoes of the forgotten episode. We'll check this out. I really like this one too. Well, definitely written for that band as well. But it's really modern. I mean, it's now, but it was written for that band back then. Very, very well produced. I think. Not too cheap. Very well performed. Mm. Uh, Speaking of 45s, this was the a huge fan of 45s. I think it was, it still is, an incredibly brilliant format for music. I mean, you have, especially back in the day when they were sort of the thing bands aspired towards doing, rather than just something they were looking out to advertise themselves, as a lot of bands are doing now. Because they were more expensive and harder to do back then, so people would put their two songs on record, or you saw them do so. And so when you bought a 45, you were buying the two best things that the two best songs that a band or artist had to offer. Um, Nowadays, it's sort of like music is produced for a lot of people, and even manufacturing of the 45, delivery of it to stores and stuff is sort of the expense involved has decreased overall for a lot of people. So it's sort of not as special anymore. And so many people are doing them now as well that it's just sort of, you know, sort of not really as special as it used to be. They're still cool. Definitely. It's a great format, but it kind of was more important in, say, the 90s, 2000s, even. Definitely in the 80s. Um, my first 45 7-inch record came out in the 1990s. Um, I was just a little kid in the 80s. But yeah, there's that one. Here, oh, this is a great one too that I produced, put together, played on. Um, it's a cover of the Beatles track "A Day in the Life." So you might like this one a lot. If you're a Beatles fan. I know I do. There's a couple of versions of this song that we put together. This is the U.S. version. But there's another version which I think is uh, maybe actually better. It's the UK version. I can play that one for you. If you like. But, maybe it's maybe in another live stream. Play that later. You can go check it out yourself on YouTube. Young Astronaut, the day of the dismiss the thing for again, you can sort of see what I was thinking here if you remember what the last two tracks sounded like. I kind of put this one together with that band in mind from like 1994, 1995, the live that we had. And if we gotten maybe a guest singer to do this with us. So that's sort of what it is. It's like um, kind of an imaginary version or imagining what if that band were playing that song and how we would play it with a guest singer. Um, and I kind of got, the different parts from all over and put them together. And I'm a guitar player. So I'm the guitar player. Um, so there you have it. Um, so there's a whole lot of stuff out there now. New Young Astronauts Club stuff and newly available Young Astronauts Club stuff. There's older music. We have volumes and volumes of it in the vault. And plenty of it is, not new, but it's only new to the internet because um, we've never, and I, as the sort of primary force behind a lot of this stuff, never really had any reason to put it on the internet until recently because, um, like, it cost us money to do that, first of all, that we weren't able to spend. It would have cost us money that we would have lost, and we might not have survived at all to do this now had we not withheld from doing so. Um, so ultimately, that comes down to finance. Like, we didn't have the money to put it out, even just on the internet. So a lot of it has just been sitting in boxes on tapes and um, waiting for the day to come to put it out. And that day has just arrived. We're working on getting it together. Hopefully, the financial end of things will improve even further so that we can do more quickly with a bigger team involved, and have more and more music out for you to check out and listen to and stream, and it'll be amazing. And then, we'll work on getting out, getting something together to go out and perform it live for all of you. And that's really the goal here, is to just keep it going and keep being creative and survive in doing so. Um, so I want to thank anybody out there who had any involvement in, first of all, the changing of legislation um, very recently that has enabled artists such as myself and bands such as ourselves to put out our music to the public and make it so that people can hear us and we can be supported by that happening. Um, and, I'd like to ask that you all please keep listening to us, please keep listening to our music, and hopefully through that as well, we can continue to keep putting out more stuff for you and making other stuff that you've never heard more easily available. So that's it. I'm trying to think if there's one other, maybe two other. There's probably something else you might like to hear that's new. Yeah, this is new. This whole album is new. Okay, I'm gonna play you. Oh yeah, a nice, cool cover version of a Kraftwerk song that we have. You might know the song "Neon Lights" by the band from Germany, Kraftwerk. If you don't, you really should, because oh, Kraftwerk is hands down one of the most important musical entities of the last 100 years. So if you don't know their music, I would recommend go searching it up on a streaming platform. Um, Kraftwerk, which in German, where they're from, Germany, means, I believe, power station. Okay, so this is Neon Lights, which is a Kraftwerk song. Again, a guest singer, and again, going with that band in mind, that was the band of Kraftwerk. You don't know before you could. There you have it. That's the Kraftwerk song "Neon Lights," performed by Young Astronauts Club, featuring a guest singer. Um, if you don't know Kraftwerk, I would highly recommend checking them out because they are hands down not just one of the most important music groups of the last 100 years, but just some of the best music as well. They're amazing. I used to listen to Kraftwerk when I was a little kid. Some people I knew had Kraftwerk records that I was able to hear, and my mind was blown because it was so different compared to anything at the time. There was nothing like them, even coming out of Germany, and there was a lot of out there music coming out of Germany at that point, which I knew existed. But when I heard Kraftwerk, um, it's just amazing. It was like, okay, this is what music made by robots will sound like. It was a kind of foreshadowing of the future of music, I think. Um, but it was done by people pretending to be robots, so it was quite amazing. And they just did it so well. It's just so completely otherworldly. And if you don't know their music, I think you're definitely missing out. So do yourself a favor and go listen to um, Autobahn, Trans Europe Express, The Man Machine, Electric Cafe, etc., etc. There's so many great records by them. Um, Radioactivity. Yeah, but that's just one of their songs. It's not even an important Kraftwerk song, but I just happen to like it a lot. Um, so, and that's why my band does a couple of versions of it. We have another version of it on streaming, done with another guest singer. It's called, well, it's the same song, so Neon Lights. But so check that out. Okay, listen, I've been on here for an hour, 14, almost 15 minutes now. So I don't want to spend too much time in here anymore. Frankly, I want to sort of get back to work on things and have more to bring to the world in terms of music. Um, Mostly music, frankly. I'm not really interested in getting too involved in, or at all involved, frankly, in some of the stuff that I've been talking about in the past that sort of was forced upon me to talk about, which is political in nature. And as I've said many times, I'm not interested in politics. I'm not a politician. Um, Government and politics make very little sense to me in 2024. And the more this whole way of doing things progresses, the more absurd and ridiculous it gets to me. And the more I just hope that humanity can come up with something better in the future than what we've all been doing to each other, than the way it's been. And I don't like it. I don't like the way it's been. I don't want to be part of it. Um, it's not interesting to me. It's frankly excruciating. Quite a quite a bit of it. I understand that it's funny and hilarious to some people, but to me, as an average person coming from a very average background, um, it's not funny at all because I see how it affects ordinary people, and you know, knowing what I come from and who I come from and where I come from, it's just not amusing, And I wish that we could find some better way to do things, so that everybody would benefit. And we're not doing that. We're going, as far as I can see, it's been going backwards for a long time now, and I just, it's becoming more and more absurd, and I don't want to be part of it. Anything I've mentioned and talked about in recent history, as in the last several years, pertaining to government or running for president or any of that stuff, it's not really me, you know. if I really think about it, really deep down, think about it, and I have, and I've been saying this, um, it's been forced upon me, these types of things, and I don't want to be part of them. So if you're one of those people that sort of thinks that you can press people into these types of situations, please think again, because a lot of us want nothing to do with it, but um, for whatever reason aren't saying that. We don't want to be in these positions. There are plenty of people in government who don't want to be in government, I'm sure. They've been forced into these positions. And um, I feel bad for those people, frankly, because they're kind of between a rock and a hard place. I'm perhaps a bit more fortunate in that I'm able to, at least for now, uh, not get involved, and I would like to keep it that way, frankly. So, um, please respect my freedom of choice, my free will, my right to determine my own future, determine what I want to do with my life, and my right to pursuit of happiness. Surely everybody has that right. Do we not? I believe so. All right. So, given that, this is Michael Macintosh. Thank you for tuning into my live stream, and I hope you enjoy the new music by Young Astronauts Club. And I suppose I will be back here later on at some point when I have something new to offer you guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.